let's say you're out traveling with a friend, and you're having a good time, and you go somewhere, and all of a sudden you're aware that these gang stalkers are watching you. Now, once you're aware of that, I think the majority of people, they lose joy, which makes sense. That's the human thing to do. You don't like that this is happening to you, right? So you lose joy, you maybe get upset. Maybe some people even will say something negative to the gang stalker. I know one guy, I saw a YouTube video. There's one guy who is a victim of gang stalking. And this guy is very proactive with getting in the faces of all these people that are gang stalking him. And, I was watching his video, and like he's just getting in their faces and he's just confronting them and all this stuff. And I think it may be a possibility that when we allow our energy to be controlled by the presence of the watchers, let's call them the watchers, when we allow our joy to be drained by the presence of the watchers, when we invest our energy into all this confrontation, it reminds me of a principle that I learned. And one of the ways I learned the principle was with Mother Teresa, something Mother Teresa once said. And that was, if you ever have an anti-war rally, I won't attend. But if you have a peace rally, then I'll show up. And she was trying to convey this principle that whatever you give energy to, you increase, right? So if watchers are watching you and you give into the energy by being maybe upset or fearful, or now you don't want to go out anymore, or anything like that, then you've kind of given them all the power. You've given them all the power to take away your joy. I just got a little chill. To take away your joy. Now, what? So if we've confronted, and nothing's really got better, if we've feared or isolated ourselves, and nothing, and our joy of life is diminishing, then really maybe we should look at an alternative approach, right? Maybe we should change our view of these gang stalking people, the watchers, right? Find a way to gain your power, right? To gain your power. And I believe, and I've seen what the power of love can do. And everybody's got a definition of love, okay? And some people could hear that and they'll say, "Oh, brother, Mr. Positivity over here," or what have you. But I'm talking real world control of your life. And I'm talking not letting the manipulators win, right? So we have to find a way to psychologically love, to psychologically find forms of joy in the midst of these type of situations. Now, what if you didn't see the watchers as these powerful entities, these powerful people? What if you saw them as victims? I mean, we already know a very small percent in this world, a very small percent has the true power in this world. So if we're seeing lots and lots of people doing the watching, doing the form of tormenting, what have you, well, maybe they're just as much a victim as the person being watched. And I say that to say that the way we think, right? We can choose the way we look at things, okay? So what if we decide to think, let's see what would happen. If we decide to think, oh wow, these poor individuals who are watching me, they're obviously controlled by people who give them money or give them this or that. And so in a sense, these people are kind of trapped. These people are manipulated, right? So if we change our thought, right? Change our thought from, oh, they're watching me, so I can't ever go out anymore, so I have to isolate, which lets the powers win, then wouldn't it be so much better if we could see them around us and we could just feel in our heart an empathy for them, right? Those poor individuals who have to do this stuff. Because we've seen that many people in the world have decent hearts. We've seen that many people have decent hearts. They don't want to harm other people, right? But if these people have been convinced, or just they're so poor and they need money, or whatever reasons, then they are victims too, right? So by seeing this perspective, we now have the ability to gain power, right? Because anytime you have empathy for another human being, you become more powerful. It is the person that to have compassion on another individual means that you are filled with loving energy. Anytime you are filled with loving energy, you have power. To me, this is not a cliche that love is the answer. I have seen this in my life and tried my best to find ways to apply this principle in the real world. You already know that when you're fearful, or when you're mad, or when you're angry at these people, that those moments you don't feel powerful. You already know that. Because maybe the more it happens, the more you isolate yourself, the more you won't get out in the middle of it all, right? So we already know that we're not powerful when we are responding this way, that possibly the powers that control the watchers want us to feel, right? So I'm saying try another method that can give you back your power. And when you feel compassion on other people, you are powerful. When you feel love toward other people, you are powerful. And there is also a second benefit to this. There is a saying that he who lives by the sword shall die by the sword. And this saying has so much truth beneath it. I had a friend that I used to go out, when I was a single person, I used to go out, dancing, to meet women and, have fun with my buddy, right? And I noticed something very interesting. Every time, well, maybe not every time, but so many times, when he and I would be out together and we'd be walking around this, this kind of club or, place with live music, whatever it is, I would notice something because I'm an observer of people and I'm just always been so curious about the psychology of the human experience and how to improve my psychology so that I can enjoy my life more, right? So I noticed that with this guy, my friend, we would be walking, around this club, just walking around, trying to conversate with the ladies or what have you. And my buddy, when he would walk by, a tough looking guy, he would kind of give him the eye. He'd kind of give him the eye, like, don't mess with me, because I'm tough. And like, I would notice he does that a lot. And then I would notice these guys, all of a sudden their energy turned, you could just sense their energy turned a little aggressive, just their energy, even if they didn't do anything. Or maybe the word is they turned offensive, right? And so I saw instances where my buddy almost got in fights. And it was clear to me that his psychological way of, I have to assume that inside he was probably fearful from something in his past, some reason in his past made him fearful of guys wanting to fight him. Maybe he lived in bad neighborhoods where that happened. I don't know. But there was something that made him feel like people may want to start a fight with me. So I have to put them down by making them see me as tough, right? But the problem is, if that's what's in your mind, then you're almost creating the very thing that you want to avoid, right? So I, on the other hand, had a totally different strategy when I walked through the club, when I was walking through the club. And my strategy was just to think that everybody just wants to have a good time, that deep down at the root of people, they're good people, and that people really just want to have a good time, right? And so when I would walk around, I'd be feeling good, I'd have a little smile, I'd be walking confidently, just enjoying myself. And even if I bumped into someone, I would, because I chose this, right? I chose this because I know the power of how we can create our own problems in life. So the way I react when I walk around the club, if I accidentally bump into a big guy, I'm just instantly with a smile, I'll pat him on the shoulder and say, oh, I'm sorry, brother. And I'll just keep right on walking. And because I say it with that energy, it's an energy of confidence, not showing fear, right? Because fear can bring out, if there is a bully that I bump into, right? Fear is what will ignite a bully to react as a bully. But confidence generally will not make a bully react as a bully, because bullies actually bully because they are also fearful from past things that have happened to them in their life. So not with any egotism, not with any, I'm better than you, none of that. Just simply, oh, I'm sorry, bud. And I keep on walking and I got a smile on my face. And so, I just choose to feel confident, choose to feel like people really don't want to cause trouble. And because I believe this so fully, I choose this belief, right? I never get the negative, those people wanting to fight and this, that, and the other. So here is an example where we have two human beings, and one says, why does everybody want to always mess with me, right? And then one who says, oh, no one ever messes with me. Life is sweet. That's nice. Right? But what is the variable between those people? Well, the variable is us. It's not what's around us. The variable is the way I choose to think, and the way he chooses to think, right? That's the variable. So I say that to say this. If we can find a way of feeling kindness, which can be in the form of compassion or just general love, right? If we can find a way of being kind, compassionate, loving, just in our minds, we don't even have to say anything out loud if we don't want to, right? Then what happens, right? You see, because when my friend would get people who wanted to fight him, well, it was because of all of this body posturing that he would do, which would subconsciously strike a reaction of defensive mode, right? So if these watchers are convinced that we are these bad people, because that's probably what they're told by the powers above them, then we can actually bring more compassion out of them. We can actually open their eyes more. They're humans. Even if there is some degree of control over them, it's not complete control. They're humans. And when we find ways to think about, to see them in a loving light, then what happens is our face changes. Our eyes look like they're smiling a little more, sparkling a little more. Our face looks more relaxed. And we give off so many signs that we're good people. So many signs we don't even realize. There's so many things our body does when we feel love or compassion for other people. There's so many things that happen in our body, in our face, that portray that to the people who see us. So many little subtleties that we don't even know we're doing, but the subconscious of other people, they pick up on it. So what happens is, when before we're kind of making the watchers think they're doing the right thing because we're reacting with these suspicious eyes, we're reacting with these unfriendly looks or energies, we're reacting with degrees of fear and low confidence. All of these reactions make the watchers believe they're right, believe they're doing good work, they're doing the right thing. We're bad people. So that's another reason. Well, I was also going to say, and you may find that some of these people may start to wake up and want to know more about you in a good way, want to be on your side, want to give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe even some may want to protect you and let you know what's going on around you. But none of this can happen if we continue to live by the sword and to take our bad energy and fight against their bad energy. Like in Star Wars, the Force, you have the dark side of the Force, the good side of the Force. If you're choosing to use the lightsaber to fight against your enemies, to want to destroy them or what have you, well, he who lives by the sword dies by the sword. So could it be better just to choose to love the world, to choose to love human beings, especially when you realize they're manipulated as much as you're manipulated? All these watchers and stalkers are obviously being sent out to do what they do by a handful of people who have all the power,